Some stories aren't just about betrayal. They're about the silence that comes after. The look in a child's eyes when everything they knew is suddenly broken. And the quiet strength it takes to rebuild when the world stops making sense. Welcome to Secret Affairs Stories, where we bring you true-to-heart tales of love lost, of lies uncovered, and of ordinary people who discover just how far they'll go to protect what really matters. Today's story is about a man, a father, who opened his front door and realized his family had been replaced without warning. But what no one expected was what his son would say next. This is, "My wife replaced me, but my son's words changed everything." Let's begin. You never expect betrayal to show up in broad daylight. You imagine it whispering through texts or behind closed doors. But not like this. Not with bags packed, and a new man smiling like he's done you a favor. The door opened, and there she was. Emily. Looking younger than she had in months. Tight jeans she hadn't worn in forever. New perfume. And the kind of grin that only fits when you're walking into someone else's life. But the real gut punch wasn't her. It was him. Jason. Leaning on a brand new Escalade like he owned the driveway. Two boys beside him, awkward and confused. And behind them, my son Noah, still clutching the doorframe, trying to understand what reality this was. Emily didn't say hello. Didn't even flinch. She walked straight past me. "Mark, this is Jason and his boys," she tossed out like she was introducing a new recipe. "They'll be staying here for a bit." I didn't laugh. Not the real kind. Just that hollow kind that rattles around when the bottom drops out of your chest. Pretending. That's what this was now. Jason followed her in. His kids dragging bags like this was some welcome retreat. They looked around nervously, like they were waiting for someone to say this was a joke. But no one laughed. Not me. Not Noah. And definitely not Emily. She threw her purse on the couch like this was a hotel suite she booked for the weekend. "We've been over for a while," she said. "You just didn't want to admit it." Noah's hand found mine. Trembling. "Dad, who is he?" Emily turned. Smiled like she'd just sealed a business deal. "He's who makes me feel alive now." Alive. The word hit me harder than anything. As if everything I'd done, every moment I stayed, was lifeless. As if stability was some kind of death sentence. But I had stayed. Through the late nights. The silence. The new gym routines. The phone she kept hidden. The lingerie tags that weren't for me. I had stayed because I believed we were worth fixing. I believed in the family we built. I believed she'd come back. Turns out, she'd already left. Long ago. And now she was here, trying to rewrite the ending without even telling me the chapter had closed. "Jason's boys might help toughen Noah up," she said. As if my son needed fixing. As if her betrayal wasn't enough. And that was when Noah stepped forward. His voice stronger than mine had been in weeks. "You're not my mom anymore." She froze. For the first time, she was actually caught off guard. "I saw the messages," Noah said. "You told him you wanted to send me away because I remind you of Dad. You said I was a problem." Jason shifted. Emily flushed. Then snarled, "You little brat." I stepped in. He had every right. Because while you were off with your new boy toy, he was watching his family fall apart. She glared. "You were boring, Mark. Predictable." I pointed at Jason. "You mean this? This is exciting to you?" Jason finally spoke. "Hey man, it's not personal." "Oh, it will be," I said. "Sooner or later, she'll do to you what she did to me." She rolled her eyes and headed toward the kitchen. "You'll hear from my lawyer." But she had no idea I had already made my move. Because I had a folder. A carefully curated trail of truths. Bank statements. Hotel bookings. Messages she never thought I'd see. She was comforting Jason at a Hilton while I was visiting my sick mother in Michigan. And he was bragging about stealing her from her loser husband. I placed the folder on the coffee table. Emily scoffed. "What's this? Some kind of scrapbook?" "Something like that." She flipped it open. And that's when her face changed. The color drained. The lips twitched. She had been found out. "You've been spying on me." "No," I said. "I was documenting." Jason stood now, trying to sound calm. "Maybe we should talk outside." "No. You brought your circus in. Let the whole neighborhood see how the tent collapses." Emily tried a new defense. "You were never there for me. I felt dead inside." "You weren't dead. You were gone." Jason placed a hand on my shoulder. "Bro, just calm down." I slapped his hand away. "Say that again. See what happens." Then came the breaking point. "Noah again. Can I stay with you, Dad?" Emily turned. "Noah, you're not picking sides." "I already did. When you brought strangers into our home like we didn't matter." Emily grabbed his arm. I stepped forward. "Take your hand off my son." She did. Jason finally understood what he'd walked into. "Maybe we should go. Maybe you should have thought about that before walking into another man's house." Emily stood frozen. As if some part of her was just now realizing she had gone too far. She picked up her bag. "This isn't over." "You're right. It's just beginning." They left. Jason's youngest looked back at Noah. Gave a small wave. Noah didn't wave back. Just stood there, burning that moment into memory. I locked the door. Turned to my son. "I'm sorry you had to see that." He hugged me tighter than ever. And I realized, she didn't just lose me. She lost the one person who would have forgiven her. Noah didn't cry. He just stood there silently. But the way he looked at me said everything. He knew this wasn't just about a breakup. It was about a betrayal so deep it shook the ground beneath our feet. That night, he crawled into bed beside me without saying a word. We lay there in silence. Two souls stitched together by disappointment. But also by something stronger, survival. I wasn't sure what tomorrow would bring. But I knew one thing. I wasn't going to let her rewrite our story. Not without a fight. The next morning was heavy. Not quiet in a peaceful way. But the kind that presses against your chest. Noah didn't go to school. I didn't make him. We just sat, two shipwreck survivors at a kitchen table. Cocoa in our mugs. Questions in our eyes. She didn't message me. She sent a statement. "You are unstable. You were abusive. I have contacted my lawyer. Police will be present when I come for my things. Do not contact me." I showed it to Noah. He read it, then whispered. "Liar." That one word hung like truth in the air. Because that's all she had left. Lies. Wrapped in victimhood. Coated with crocodile tears. But I had the truth. And the truth doesn't need to yell. It just waits, patient, steady, undeniable. When she came with the police. She walked in like she still lived there. Didn't even glance at the family photos. Didn't hesitate to touch what wasn't hers. She picked up a bracelet I bought her on our 10th anniversary. The officer stopped her. "If he purchased that, you'll need to leave it." She dropped it like it burned. Then smirked. "Jason's going to propose." I looked at her, stone-faced. I already moved on. And for the first time, her mask slipped, just a little. Noah came downstairs just in time to see her leave. He didn't wave. Just watched. Like he was burning her exit into memory too. I filed for divorce the next day. No hesitation. No regrets. And 2 days after that, Jason called. Left a voicemail. "Hey man, I think we should talk." I didn't return the call. Didn't need to. He was living his karma. Later that week, a bouquet showed up on the porch. Cheap supermarket flowers. No note. No courage. Straight to the trash. Then the twist. My lawyer sent me something. A private investigator report. Jason had already moved on. Dinner with someone who wasn't Emily. At the same hotel where they used to meet. It wasn't poetic justice. It was just reality catching up. Then she came back. Again. Same front yard. Same desperate tone. We were too quick. Jason wasn't who I thought he was. I stepped outside. No. She flinched. I just want another chance. For Noah, she added quickly. I stared, then told her the truth. I filed for full custody. She gasped. You can't do that. I already did. You want to fight it? Bring your folder. I'll bring mine. When Noah came home from school that day, he saw her in the yard. He asked her. Why are you here? Just talking to your dad, she said sweetly. He looked at me, then at her. Are you staying? I was hoping to. No. You shouldn't. Her smile shattered. And this time, she felt it. Later that week. She showed up at Noah's school. She wasn't supposed to. Papers made that clear. She waited. Cornered him in the parking lot. Begged him to come with her. He said no. At home, he told me everything. I told him the truth. She's made choices I can't protect you from anymore. But I'll always keep you safe. He nodded. And then said something I'll never forget. I used to wish she'd come back. Now I hope she never does. And just like that. The last thread of illusion snapped. Weeks passed. Court came. Her lawyer painted me as the villain. She cried on cue. I stayed calm. Told the truth. The judge ruled. Full custody to me. Supervised visitation for her. Until Noah says otherwise. She fumed. Outside the courthouse, she hissed. You humiliated me. No. You did that to yourself. I just stopped cleaning up your mess. Weeks later. Noah smiled more. Ate more. Slept more. Peace isn't loud. It's quiet breakfasts. Laughter without fear. A home without tension. One night, Noah brought out a photo album. The one she made when he was born. Do you think she ever looks at these? He asked. I do, I said. And I think she finally understands what she threw away. We talked about the future. College. Road trips. Maybe getting a dog. We didn't mention her. And in that silence, we found closure. She thought she ended our family. But all she did was show us how to rebuild it, stronger. And stronger we became. Not because we chose to be brave. But because we had no choice. Noah began opening up more. Not just to me. But to the world again. He joined a local soccer team. Started painting again. Slept through the night without calling out. I started cooking more. Badly, at first. But the laughter we shared over burnt pancakes was worth it. We made new traditions. Game nights on Thursdays. Walks every Sunday morning. Notes we left on the fridge just to make each other smile. One morning, Noah said something that stopped me cold. "Dad. I don't think I miss her anymore. I just miss who I thought she was." And that was it. The difference between memory and reality. Between who she pretended to be. And who she actually was. As fall turned to winter. She faded more and more into the background. The calls stopped. The texts never came. And for once. That silence felt good. Not absence. Peace. And for the first time in a long time. I looked in the mirror. And saw someone whole. Not a broken man. Not a backup plan. But a father. A survivor. And finally, a man who came home to something that felt like love. When Mark opened his front door, he expected another silent morning. What he got instead was the end of a marriage, and the beginning of something no one saw coming. His wife didn't just bring a new man home. She brought her new life. And expected her old one to quietly disappear. But what she didn't expect was her own son standing up to speak a truth that would shatter her illusions. This is a story of betrayal, awakening, and the quiet power of loyalty between a father and his son. A story that proves sometimes, the strongest voice in the room comes from the one you least expect. Subscribe to Secret Affairs Stories for more raw, emotional stories of love, lies, and redemption. Like, comment your thoughts, and hit the bell to never miss a twist.